Good day guys, Dan here from DPH Handyman. G'day guys, how you going? Dan here from DPH Handyman and Yard Maintenance. Quick video today, we're talking hedging.
So what are you doing with that practice?
No, it's recording. Let's give this baby a go. One very important factor to consider when you're purchasing a hedge trimmer rather than using shears, which is what I started with when I first began the business. You've got to look at the type of hedge you want to hedge. Is it a small leaf hedge? Is it a large leaf hedge? Has it got wider branches and sticks and twigs in amongst it? Because one thing I didn't realise at the beginning was the exhaust point and where that comes out and what it can actually do to your hedge. So in regards to that, you've got, say, my Bushranger and Still, their exhaust point shoots down. When it does this, you've got a small leaf type hedge, it's going to want to try and burn that leaf when you've got especially a larger and wider type hedge. Using battery powered alleviates this problem. Another reason why I've switched to battery for the majority of my hedging. You've also got my Husqvarna at home. I haven't got it with me, but I'll show you in future videos. Its exhaust point is above the blades and it shoots out sort of across the top of the plant rather than pointing down, and all that heat is just transferred straight onto that leaf. And it's alright if you've got a larger leaf type hedge, it won't hurt it too much, but it's the smaller ones, the Buxus type hedges and things like that, they're the ones that are going to be affected by it. So this Maruyama, similar deal, you're going to get it on that. It's still got small leaves even though it has got a hardier type plant in amongst it. But other than that, yeah, you shouldn't have too many dramas going to battery powered or using the one with an exhaust point over the top. So going forward, the other considerations is your blade length or your bar length, whatever you'd like to call it. How long it is determines what type of hedge you're going to use it on. Now, this one here could have been done just with a medium length bar, so 500, but 600mm is what I used with the battery powered hedge trimmer, which was that one you saw in the video. I've got the long extended pole, and that's for a hedge that's out the back there. I've got to get to it in a second. Now, when you're using a smaller bar length, say 300-400mm, you get little handheld ones, just one hand can sort of operate the machine. That's good and perfect for small and round shaped hedges. So if you want to do fine detail, especially if you've got smaller buxus, that's good as well. Something convenient and easy to pull out of the shed and use. Otherwise, you can still use the longer ones on the buxus. But going to your rounded shapes, the smaller the blade, the better. The more of an angle you're going to create. The longer the blade, the harder it is to get that smooth type angle, you know what I'm saying? So as far as that goes, I just wanted to make this video based on what my experience have been with hedge trimmers and the reasons why I've chosen the ones I've got. I now have 3 or 4 different types, and I pull them out for every situation. So so yeah, when cutting any type of rectangular shape or box type shape, I like to start on the side and the ends, and if it's a large hedge, I'll start down low, make my way up to the top of the hedge, and by doing this, you're not eating into too much of the plant. Now, this one was highly overgrown, and the twigginess of it with this type hedge, you really need to be on top of it a lot more often than what I currently service this one at. It's been months and months since I've been here, and it's yeah, it's a regular lawn client of mine, but as far as the hedges go, it's just once they're pretty much overgrown, and you can see, like, once you cut it out, you're forever pulling out the twigs that have fallen through because it is so overgrown. But yeah, it's something you got to stay on top of. Definitely is one consideration with hedging. You need to be consistently doing the job. So yeah, so the same method. It doesn't matter if you're using petrol or battery powered, obviously, that goes without saying. The same method, so on the sides and the ends is what I like to do, and then finish on the top. Once you do that, you can sort of get in nice and close to the plant, whether you're using a platform or not. You can step even closer to that hedge and get enough reach to get it all in one go for the majority of the hedges that I do. So I recommend platform of some description. This is the one I use. I think it's $70 from Bunnings. I've got 2 of them, and you set them up lengthways. So when you're doing horizontal runs, you're just stepping from one to the other, and you're not getting off and shuffling this one across. My brother's going, you can hear in the background at the moment, he's using the other one. So usually when I'm on my own, 2 of those is perfect. Out the back, I'll show you in a minute, I've got a large scaffold set up, and with that you can obviously reach a lot higher. It's a lot more safer when you're doing large hedging, and that's where the multi tool comes in, or the extended hedge trimming attachment that I've got now on this battery powered unit. So that's another thing to consider. How's your reach going to be once you get to the job? You don't want to be missing out by 400mm and needing to go grab your extended shears and trying to just stuff around with that. So it pays having the right gear for the job. Now, hedging, it can be very profitable, but at the same time you need to have the right gear so you're in and out, the quality is there, and when you leave the job you've left it professionally finished. And a hedger compared to shears, I found it's just so much of a cleaner cut. The blade is just spinning that much quicker, and when you cut it, it cuts sharp and crisp every time, just like when you're using an edger on your lawns. Similar deal. Even though I use a whippersnipper only, it's still a lot cleaner cut. You imagine getting down there with a pair of scissors or something like that. It's it's just that revolutions, you can't beat it. The machine power is just too great compared to what we can generate with a pair of shears. So yeah, this is a big thing. I've got a lot of regular lawn clients obviously, and I always ask the question, is there anything else I can provide? I do gutter cleaning, I do hedge trimming, I do all these yard maintenance tasks that it just coincides with the lawn care. So if you don't ask the question, you're never going to know. So it's just a matter of you having a price that suits your business plan, like I've spoken about before. And when I first started, it didn't matter what I was doing. I could have been cleaning windows, cleaning an entire property inside and out, cobwebbing, didn't matter. I just picked up and did whatever I could, because at the time all I had was a pair of shears, a rake and all the basic tools. So I had to find ways to increase my revenue, to then get the tools that I wanted to get, to then increase my productivity now, which enables us to get more jobs in a day. It enables me to put on another worker or two, and then yeah, that's the biggest thing going forward. You've got to keep looking at ways to improve, and that's one way of doing it. So alright, so what I spoke about before was when you're cleaning your blades, you want to be using something like a canola spray or something other than WD-40 or inox or anything like that. Anything like that's going to harm your plant. You want something that's semi-natural. Although the canola spray does have a small amount of gas in it to actually propel it out, like propellant, its product and main use, you use it on food, right? So it's a safer alternative. You've got things like silicone sprays. You've also got like shearing type sprays, like for shearing sheep and things like that. You've got all these other things that help lubricate blades, but for me the safest thing I've found is canola spray. You can't go wrong, and it's a very cheap product to get. So have a couple of tins at all times in your ute or in your car, ready to go, so when you've got your gear you've always got it with you. Alright, I'll just shoot on through now to the backyard and see how much work my brother's got done. One sec. Alright, we found the boy here in his natural habitat. Another thing to consider, obviously right now you can hear, is the noise. Battery power alleviates all of this, so if you've got units, strata, anything like that, you can get in nice and early in the morning, start at 7 AM with certain considerations. We've also got to confirm that with the strata, but 7 AM is mostly the times you can start around here in residential. So by using battery powered, you alleviate that noise that you just heard there. Now he's done a nice crisp job here, you can see, look at that. Nice, Bradley. Good work there, boy. Now, what else have you done out the back here? Just this hedge out here?
Yeah, halfway through that one.
Alright, let's have a look out here. There's that other platform we were talking about. Alright, now you'll see as we go through, we pretty much hit the job. Get it all down. Don't have to clean as you go on these type jobs. Usually we'll have a mower with us, and a lot of this you can mulch up and have even less green waste. That's another important tip. Just full of tips this vid. Anyway, up the top there, perfectly level. That's another thing to look at when you're doing it. When you're going across it, don't just go across side like this. You want to sort of, if you can see this, you go on a pendulum, right? Like the robot dance. You want to go across it horizontally and just pivot it across so you've got one nice smooth motion as you're doing it. You don't want to be going across it and then get these little waves, because you're, at the end of the day, if you've done 8 hours, 10 hours of hedge trimming, your arms are just about falling off. Another reason we've gone to battery powered. But that's the biggest thing to consider. As you're going through, you just want a nice, neat, level finish, alright? And as you go through with this, you can either blow it off, rake it off, move it off with your hand, and you'll see it all fall through down to the bottom. And at the end of the day, we come back through, we rake it up, we blow it out. Everything's pristine when we leave. So clean up is a major thing. So if you're just starting, make sure once you've done the job, you clean up properly. So I'll leave it at that for now. and I might add a little bit more at the end of the week when I get home and I'll edit all this. But yeah, thanks guys, and we'll finish the job here and give you some after photos. If you follow me on Facebook, I'm going to get the Instagram one going up and running again, and yeah, I'll stop stumbling on my words now. Alright, see you later. Alright guys, I just wanted to show the comparison of just how much there is a difference between two-stroke and a battery powered hedge trimmer.
I thought you were doing it.
What I spoke about before, the exhaust point down below. The Husqvarna one at home shoots it above the blade. That's a very, very important consideration when you're cutting small leaf hedges. And I've found so far just as powerful, but half the noise, a quarter of the noise. So good. I used it all day last Friday, hasn't been charged since, still full battery. So compared to a two-stroke that's always running and idling, these things only getting used when they're getting used, so major savings even in that. Sometimes on a larger hedge you get more finesse with a longer reach pole hedge trimmer. You can just control the line a lot easier, and if you needed to, pivot the head so you're not actually standing on the hedge with the motor or with this battery powered unit hitting the hedge. So just another little tip. Got to edit a lot, eh?
Oh, you're not keeping it.
How'd you go, Bradley?
Just gotta finish that one off.
Nice. I'll get this camera out of the rain, eh?
That one's with SCAG, yeah.
Good job.
Thanks, mate.